All right, Travis, we're live on video. Stand by for audio. All right, good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So today I'm bringing on yet another new co-host for you because that's what we do. This gentleman, actually, I've already been impressed by him so much that you guys will eventually see a repeat co-hosting session from him. And this isn't usually happening right away, but when you hear his bio and you get to learn about him today, I think you'll understand why we got to bring him back. So this gentleman, he graduated in 2010 from the Ohio State University College of Optometry with a Magna Cum Laude. He's an honors guy. He's the founder of I Love, and we'll get into why it's so important, aka ilovethesun.com, whose mission is to end preventable blindness. So we got a powerful message today. So he and his wife use the profits from I Love to fund free and low-cost clinics in Jamaica. I think that's pretty powerful. They also started a charity called the I Love Cares Foundation, which is why I definitely want to geek out with him today. And I love not-for-profit activity. And anytime you can intertwine it with your business, I think it becomes even more powerful. So ilovecares.org, which provides exams, glasses, sunglasses for those in need, free education, and scholarships for students that align with their mission. So he enjoys traveling to Jamaica, training for marathons, playing the ukulele, while he drinks his morning coffee, aka French press, which I'm a huge fan of. I just upgraded my French press. So without further ado, before I give you his name, I'm going to share a quote that I love, which is, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. From Gandhi. Welcome to the show, Dr. Travis Zigler.
Excited to be here, Scott. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited for us to finally connect. I loved our little intro session, which went longer than my 15-minute segment to get to know you, which that's usually a sign that we're going to have a good conversation.
I hope so. I have a lot of pressure on now.
Oh, and you joked around about, and to our listeners, this guy takes podcasts very seriously. I just learned that normally he would not come on a podcast unless he's listened to at least 3 to 5 other of the podcasts of the show. And he just felt so comfortable with you guys, the listeners, that he's just coming right on and said, screw it, I'm not even going to listen. So,
and that's not an excuse for me not having time. It's just, I really wanted to just wing it with you. And I didn't want to get any pre-questions or anything or get a feel for it. I just wanted to go.
Well, then clearly you're getting the vibe of the show, because as I joked around, I don't edit. We keep it real. I want our listeners to feel like, oh, this is actually a real conversation. It's not a programmed interview. I'm always having to explain to people, I'm like, oh, who are you interviewing today? I'm like, I'm not interviewing, man. I'm just having a natural human conversation with somebody who knows a hell of a lot about something that I don't.
Yeah, and I'll bring some questions too to you, so we'll make it fun.
There you go, man. So again, welcome to co-hosting. So let's jump right in, man. You and I joked around last time about like glasses, which we'll get into today. And obviously we both care a lot about health. But to our listeners, why, we didn't really get into this last time you and I chatted, but why is it that you just, besides you going to school and obviously taking eye as a passion, but why is eye health so important to all of us? I wanted to keep it kind of an umbrella, and then we can, dig deeper in that.
So why is eye health so important to all of us? That's a fantastic question. And the eye it's everything. It's the window to, people say it's the window to your soul. It's the window to your health too. We can actually look into the eye and see live blood vessels. We can see live nerves. We can pretty much tell what's going on with your entire body by looking inside your eye. And so that's why we dilate your eyes at eye exams. Oh, yeah. Is because we can look at all that stuff. We can catch diabetes, high blood pressure. Since I moved to South Carolina, I've diagnosed 4 brain tumors just by looking in the eye.
Really?
And I didn't diagnose them, but I sent them out for an MRI, and then that got diagnosed. So
hey, yeah, that's fine. You don't need to diagnose it. If you see something that you can recognize as a clear problem, and you potentially can impact or save someone's life because you happen to see something that's not supposed to be there, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And so why eye health? Because you can do a lot through the eye. I mean, the eye is everything. And whenever you ask somebody what's the number one sense they are afraid to lose, it's their sight. And so being able to maintain that for people and to give that to people there's no better experience than putting on a pair of glasses on someone that's never been able to see in their life and just seeing them light up. And we can get into that a lot further down the line when we talk about foundation.
Since you're hinting on obviously blindness, preventative blindness, I know that's part of your big mission with I Love. So let's go ahead and clarify something, because this was sticking in my head after I got off the phone with you after the internet last time, not phone, internet, whatever, same thing. But okay, let's say somebody has already lost their vision.
Mm-hmm.
Now, clearly what you just kind of hinted here is that you can still do a lot of these other things that you're hinting at, like looking at blood vessels and everything else. So I asked this, but I've actually had a great podcast on not too far back with the blind blogger. Shout out to Maxwell Ivy. And, he's been blind pretty much his whole life. So does he go to the eye doctor? Does he need to see professionals like you? Do they actually look at the blood vessels and all that stuff? Is that something that a, eye impaired person, I don't know, what's going on there?
Yeah. So somebody that's already completely blind or been blind for life, the only reason we'd want to see them for an eye exam is just what I was just talking about, checking for diabetes, checking for high blood pressure, because we can see that in the back of their eye. But the main reason we check in the back of the eye is to make sure that it won't cause blindness. And so I like to see my diabetic patients every year, my high blood pressure patients every year, because if their blood vessels start to leak blood, which is a sign of high blood pressure, which is a sign of diabetes, we can catch it before it actually causes permanent vision loss.
Wow.
In his case, he'd probably be better off just going to just getting his regular physicals to detect high blood pressure and diabetes. So is it necessary? Not really, unless there's something cosmetic going on. I have a story about a guy that I was in school with, and it was a great story. What happened isn't a great story, but he actually got attacked and lost both of his eyes. Literally, they were gouged out. Yes, wow. It's a terrible story. But this was 5 years later, and we were fitting him with prosthetics. And so he was still coming to us to get just the cosmetic eyes back. And it was funny because he was an African-American gentleman, had brown eyes his whole life, and his implants were always brown. Oh. And we ordered the wrong ones, and they were blue. And we put him in, and his wife lit up, and he goes, "Ooh, I like the blue."
Are you serious?
Completely off subject, but so we do see blind people still, and it just depends on why they're blind and what they want to come in for. So people that are blind due to the lack of an eye, we fit them with prosthetics. Wow. And then people like him, who's probably got both of his eyes, we can still watch them for high blood pressure and diabetes, but a physical would be more important for that.
No, I mean, I just had to get that asked out there. I mean, like I said, we don't follow a Q&A format, but I'm like, man, that was just one weird thing that just popped in my head after you and I chatted. I was like, well,
that's a good question. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm trying. Well, because I don't know if these are things that come up in your average conversation, but you've been doing this for a little while. So it's like, okay, well, is this something that comes up? Because as you hinted, blood vessels, diabetes, high blood pressure, never really thought about it. But most people are like, oh, I submit my actual blood for a blood test. Like I donate blood every 8 weeks. Actually, I'm due. I just realized they called me a week ago. Hey, your 8 weeks are up. So I need to go in and do my little, I call it an oil change. Like take it out. That way my bone marrow can refill and I'm all fresh. So, which shout out to our listeners, please donate blood. So, but now again, most people would actually get their cholesterol done that way, tested, because I know you get like a high level. It's not a very good blood test, but they'll send me back in the mail like, hey, from your last blood donation, here's your current HDL, LDL, which now that I've been geeking out about health and launching this podcast and had on other doctors, that is worthless. Like if you really want to understand cholesterol and heart disease and HDL and LDL, I've learned that you have to get these much deeper dive tests done that actually measure the size of the particulates of the LDL. It's a whole different thing. So I don't know if you know anything about that, but
that is beyond my expertise. I will
awesome.
say that.
Well, anyway, if you ever want to learn more about that, there's a whole lot more out there than I never even thought I was going to actually care about learning, but I'm loving it now. I geek out on this stuff. So, but thanks for digging deeper onto at least helping us understand that the visually impaired are dealing with. But also really cool about the whole prosthetic eye thing. You can order these things. Like is there like a catalog?
Yeah, there is actually. So it's actually hydroxyapatite. It's kind of the same thing that it's what coral reef is made out of. So wow. We make it out of that because your body won't reject it. And yeah, you literally just order it out of a catalog, and you have different sizes, and you measure the person's eye, you take pictures, and if they have one good eye and one eye still, and then they don't have an eye in the other eye, we actually take a picture of their eye, and then we'll send the pictures into the company, and they'll try to paint it to be exactly the same as the other. And
so that's just real quick, go back to the story. Did that gentleman end up keeping the blue eyes?
Oh yeah, he kept the blue eyes.
Okay.
His wife loved them.
Now, do they stay in forever? Or do you have to change them? I don't know.
No, you actually, they're like a giant contact lens. You take them out every night, you clean them because bacteria will build up behind them, and the eye socket will become oozy and filled with bacteria. So you just got to keep them clean to avoid that.
Man, wow. Okay. Clean those eyes. All right. Well, let's tie that forward. I've had, so because of the firefighting adventure I did a few years ago, I was wearing contacts, since you mentioned contacts. And I just got tired of wearing, I mean, I'm very active. So I was doing the whole Visine thing before I knew the Visine's actually not that good. You don't have to take a vote on that. But
I have a video on YouTube on that. So
oh, awesome. All right. Well, then if you felt like chiming in, is there anything you wanted to say about Visine?
Don't use it.
All right. We're reinforcing what I already know. So anyway, I stopped using Visine, was wearing contacts, and I was already active, right? I've been a ski race coach I was for 11 years. I stepped down 2 seasons ago. Actually, I'm wearing my ski hat today because...
Saw it on your hat, yeah.
I went skiing earlier today. And then I came home and set up a new propane burner in my big garage for my CrossFit gym in there because I was like, hey, it's 15 degrees. There's no excuse not to be able to work out. So I went and bought a heater. So anyway, the point is skiing, biking, everything else I do, my eyes were always drying out. And I don't know if that means I'm more prone to dry eye than others. You could probably chime in on that. But then I said, okay, after the first year of firefighting, I was like, man, I'm in the wilderness trying to deal with clean contacts. We're doing 16-hour shifts. We're camping under the stars every night because that's what hotshots do. And I was like, I'm carrying around like the best eye drops I could find, or at least I thought. And then I finally said, screw this. At the end of that fire seasoning, I was like, I'm getting LASIK, man. I'm going to drop the coin. I spent $3,000 in Arizona. I was like, I'm not doing this whole, you pay $500 and you get one eye free. I'm like, you're shooting lasers into my eyes. Like, I'm going to go ahead and go for the premium option.
I agree with that.
Okay, good. So I made a good decision. So, but then I've been using this. I'm actually blank on the brand, but they gave me a specific brand of eye drops.
Refresh or Sustain, probably.
Sustain, yes. Yeah. Sustain Ultra, I think it was, but I had to use those every day for the next year minimum, right, during the healing process and everything else. And then, but to this day, I still found those to be one of the nicest eye drops I've ever used. So I still buy them. Just if I ever feel dry, I wake up in the morning, I throw a couple in. It's just part of my lifestyle now. I don't know if you would agree or disagree with that, but
it's pretty much up to you. I don't. When I treat dry eye syndrome, I treat it from the inside out. So I try to look at a patient and avoid eye drops altogether because what I believe is that dry eye is a symptom to a broader disease going on in your body. And most eye doctors will not think like that. Most eye doctors see the symptom and see dry eye as a specific disease. But by definition, dry eye is inflammation. And so if there's inflammation going on in the eye, there's inflammation going on in the entire body. And so
I love this.
I take the approach of dry eye as a symptom, high blood pressure is a symptom, diabetes is a symptom, cholesterol is a symptom of your body being in this low-grade inflammatory state. And I try to teach people how to get out of that inflammatory state. So most of my patients, if you want to call them online, are postmenopausal females. So that 45-plus-year-old females that have hormonal problems. They've gone through menopause. And so we're dealing with hormones. We're dealing with bad diets that they've been doing their whole life. And so I try to shift their belief into thinking dry eye is not a disease, but it's rather a symptom. And so usually when your eyes become dry, it's something you probably ate, drank, or did that caused them. So to cover up a problem, the drops are okay. So your eyes are feeling dry, put a drop in. It covers up a problem, but doesn't fix it. And so
I love the fact you're hitting on this because this has come up. Again, I've got over 100, I have 140 shows up online. So we've had biologists and neurologists, and I told you a little bit about Dr. Jack Cruz, who's the famous neurologist. Yep. He's probably the most downloaded episode ever. And we could talk more about the whole, sleep aid behind the eye, all that. But everything we discuss, heart specialist, the paleocardiologist, Dr. Jack Wolfson, we talk about heart disease. It's an inflammatory issue in the body, just like you're saying. And most average doctors, and now I'm hearing this in the eye world too, the average doctor, we're not trying to rip on them. It's just that they only know so much, and they are usually end up treating a symptom versus trying to find the root cause. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. And that wasn't something that we believed. I mean, we did the typical put drops on it, put this on it, put that on it. And we had a shift in our belief because we're Western medicine trained, which most people don't know that Western medicine is only 100 to 200 years old, whereas in Eastern medicine is thousands of years old. So Eastern medicine is the process of finding the root cause of the problem and addressing that, where Western medicine is more, let's find a way to fix this symptom or fix the dry eye, fix the high blood pressure with a medication that causes even more side effects. So that's, I forget your initial question and where I was going with it, but it's
It's about inflammation, basically.
yeah. And so yeah, we're just I'm just trying to shift people into thinking more that dry eye, fixing the inflammation that's causing it, and just fixing that instead. And we do that with diet. And so I came out with a book called Rethinking Dry Eye Treatment. It's actually very short. It was actually going to be a big blog post, but it ended up being 50 pages.
Oh, wow.
So I just turned it into a book, and we promote, I sell it for 99 cents because I just want people to read it and realize that dry eye is curable if you approach it the right way. And that's not through typical drops and everything. So
now, is that on your main website as well?
It's not on our website. It's actually on Amazon. So Rethinking Dry Eye Treatment on Amazon.
Okay.
I knew what I was going to say now.
Okay.
So
jump in, man.
The reason we switched this mentality from Western medicine to Eastern medicine is because my wife and I actually tried to start having kids in January of 2015. And in January 2015, we started trying, and 3 years later, no pregnancy. And so we were wondering, about 2.5 years later, no pregnancy, and with a fertility doctor for 2 years and Western medicine trained. And she pretty much told us that it was IVF or nothing. IVF is in vitro fertilization, which is about a $15,000 to $25,000 procedure.
Yeah, I've already heard about that. It is not cheap.
Yeah, lots of hormones, lots of chemicals, and we didn't want to go through it, and we didn't want to accept that as our only option. So that's when we explored acupuncture, herbals, Eastern medicine, and we got pregnant in 3 months. And so it was amazing that we went through 2.5 years of Western medicine. This is what's wrong with you. This is how we need to treat it. And then we went to Eastern medicine and said, okay, we just need to fix a couple things, and I think you'll be pregnant in 3 months. Pretty much what they said, and they were exactly right. It was amazing. And so we thought about it differently.
It's powerful because I've talked about this in the past too. I started really geeking out about nutrition in 2010 when I was a rookie firefighter, because it was just, your health is everything, man. We were doing, as I hinted earlier, 16-hour shifts for 2 weeks straight before you get your mandatory healthy days off to recharge. So it's like you got accumulated exhaustion over and over again all summer long. So by the end of your wildland firefighting season, 6 months, you're just beat up. I don't care how good you are at your health and wellness. So that's when I found the one nutrition company I was working with is Isogenics, but it's not a promotion for them. But one thing I learned from them was the power of fasting, allowing the body to detoxify itself, attack the toxins that are stored in your fat cells, and going through a cleansing process, a cellular level cleansing throughout the entire body. And I've been doing it ever since. I literally just did 2 more days this past week, back to back, did a 48-hour. And not everybody's ready for that, but that's my lifestyle. I do this every single quarter of the year. It's like become my maintenance part of my life. And it's been going on for 7 years because it helps reduce inflammation in the body. Like I always will. I mean, I'm already a lean guy, but my puffiness goes away. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, you're letting your whole system just kind of regenerate. I do a 12-hour fast every night, and I've never done a 48-hour. I might try it.
Well, the biggest thing is like people are like, oh, so what are you doing? Like you don't eat? I'm like, that's what fasting is. And you do know that fasting's been around for centuries. Like this is, again, before Western medicine. This is not a medicinal thing. This is something that the body is actually at the DNA level is programmed to do, because if you go far enough back, mankind used to have to go through periods of lack of food, lack of nutrients, and the human body is an amazing machine.
It is. And it's religious too. I mean, if you're a religious person, every single religious leader has fasted in some way or the other.
There you go. So, and again, your 12-hour piece is cool because like everyone, like this morning, actually, I did not actually eat. I woke up and I felt pretty good from last night. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and extend my fasted state, because I slept all night long. So I wake up already in a fasted state. And again, ladies and gentlemen, when you have breakfast, you're breaking your fast. Break fast, breakfast. That's what that means. So breakfast can be any time of the day. So I didn't have my eggs and bacon until probably 1:30, 2 o'clock today. So there you go.
Yeah, and we actually did the same thing this morning. We woke up and we just didn't have time because we woke up late and we wanted to go to church, and newborn was newborn, and then we're just like, let's just fast until lunch. And so we did.
The newborn is a newborn. I like that. I've heard all kinds of ways of explaining that situation. So
no, he's great. We will. He's been pretty amazing. I mean, he shifted our whole belief on life, and it's been incredible.
I hear that from many, many people. So, and actually, real quick, because I brought it up, I'm going to share the screen, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, real quick, since we're talking about inflammation of the body, there's this book, Rethinking Dry Eye Treatment: Lifestyle Changes to Control Your Dry Eye. And actually, is it free on Kindle?
I think if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free.
Oh, there you go.
And pretty much you can insert any disease process in place of dry eye, and it will pretty much rethinking high blood pressure treatment, rethinking diabetic treatment.
Yeah.
This is a very cookie cutter approach to treating any of those diseases. If you're already eating a healthy diet and you're already doing everything right and you still want to take it a step further, I would recommend going to find a doctor that does food sensitivity testing. So
yes,
I'm kind of that step before that step. So I try to get people that have been eating Western diets.
A lot of people are literally eating Western medicine, like consuming it.
Yeah, I'm in South Carolina, so yes, I see it all the time. 20 medications, and
it's a shame, but I've actually had numerous people. Actually, in the back corner of my office here, I still have the swab test sitting here for Dr. Carson of Carson Natural. He's got his own podcast show too, and but he's south. I can't remember if he was Tennessee. I forget what state he's in. But I brought it up as a casual thing. I'm like, I'm not trying to rip on the South, but I did for a little while live in Greenville, South Carolina. You and I talked a little bit about that, and I don't know how to better say this, but man, the South is fat. I mean, granted, we have obesity all over this country. The USA is not setting an example of health in the world, even though people are starting to follow us the wrong way. But it seems like the southern area is worse. And he actually pointed it out. He said, listen, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is tied to income. And a lot of people are not looking to, maybe I'll just grow my own garden to save money. I'll just go to Mickey D's because they got a 99-cent menu.
Income and education. I mean, income and education. They don't realize that McDonald's is not healthy. They think it is. And I'll tell them, like, I'll talk diet with. So to give you an example, when I practiced in Columbus, Ohio, we had about a 5% diabetic rate of our patients.
Wow.
Down here, it went up to about 20 to 40%.
Whoa.
And so it's a huge difference. And the reason I could track that was because we actually report to insurance companies what patients have, and you could see your stats online. And so 5% in Ohio versus 20, I had 20% at one office here and 40% at the other office. That's why I say 20 to 40%. Mm-hmm. And so it's just huge down here, and it's income and education. I mean, there's a ton of people down here that I see as patients that are making maybe $10,000 a year, and they're working two jobs. And it's a crazy workforce down here. It's a very blue collar area, and they just don't have the education on health and nutrition that they need. And so that's pretty much what is causing this kind of problem down here.
Yeah, and not to rip on the South or the low income bracket, because, I'm going to go ahead and tie this back to the high income bracket. I don't care how much money you make. There is still ignorance everywhere when it comes to the health, right? So people just choose the easy path instead of taking the time to do your own self-education. Or as two doctor friends of mine in my nutritional world, they actually are known as, their tagline is, become your own inner physician, right? Like, we're not saying you're going to replace a doctor. I still respect MDs and what they know, but I haven't been to an MD in over 5 years. I'm not saying that I don't believe in medicine. I'm just saying, in the Western medicine theme here, unless I jack myself up mountain biking, skiing, whatever, what are you going to teach me when I go there? You're going to take blood panel tests. You can do that for me. Thank you. You can stitch me up. You can, fix a cut, whatever, but you're not going to teach me anything about nutrition. I have no problem nowadays coming right out and saying this. I'll be Big Balls Scott. I know more than the average MD about my health and nutrition. And I've not actually said that yet on this podcast. I will go ahead and put that out there. And I'm not trying to boast. I'm just saying I've spent the past 7 years slowly increasing my bandwidth of studies. Now,
and I love that you say that, because in my book, I actually say, sorry to interrupt, but
no, please go.
I say that it is not up to your doctor to heal your dry eye. It is up to you and you alone. You can make the choice to either change, because what you're doing right now is not working. And so if you think it's too hard to change, then you'll keep suffering. But if you want to stop suffering, then you have to change something that you're doing. And so it's very frustrating. We have a live session here at 5:00 on my Facebook page, and we ask for questions in the morning. So one of the questions that we unfortunately got was a lady saying that I don't want to change my diet because I love processed foods. And it's just like, okay.
Then you get what you deserve.
And it's just frustrating because she knows what I'm going to tell her. And that's why she said that in parentheses, but I love processed food, so I'm not going to stop them. And people don't realize.
But you love processed food because those were chemically designed in a lab to get you addicted to them. And
I always tell people that you'll become addicted to whatever you eat. And so if you eat a McDonald's hamburger every day, you'll become addicted to that. If you eat broccoli every day, you'll become addicted to broccoli.
I buy the, I will say I finally gave in. My fiance's parents got us a membership to Costco, and I don't always agree with the Costco business model because it's like they just want you to buy massive quantities of stuff. And I'm like, I'm still in my minimalist ways from when I was firefighting and I fit my life in my car. So I'm still holding on to little bits of that.
Yeah, and Costco doesn't do that for you.
No, I'll come out of there. I purposely will walk in with my reusable shopping bags, and I will never go with more than 2 bags. So I will actually not even get a cart.
I was going to say, you don't get a cart either, do you?
I throw everything in the bag. When the bags are full, I walk up, I dump them out, and then I put everything back in the bag. So it's funny too, because everybody looks at me like I'm crazy, but then everybody's standing around waiting for like the helper person to come over and get like spare boxes that were, from stocking the shelves. And you're walking out, you look like you're all ghetto because you got these like half-ass boxes of your food spilling out of it in your cart. And I'm like, I don't get it. This is how I'm doing it. So I'll go in there and I get the jumbo bag of organic broccoli. Now, granted, I know just because it's organic doesn't mean it wasn't shipped in from Mexico and it's probably been sitting on a truck for a week, and that's a whole different podcast. But I'm trying to, I geek out on broccoli.
Organic.
Yeah, my fiance's like, okay, I'm really tired of broccoli. What is your obsession there? And I'm like, there could be worse things that I could be obsessed with.
Broccoli's delicious.
Yes. I mean, you shave some fresh Parmesan over that. You get that all melted on there. Oh, it's so good. So I'm glad you and I are both passionate health and wellness professionals. Actually, well, you're at a different level though, sir. So I'm glad that you're also reminding people in your book and elsewhere that I love that point is I'm not saying don't stop going to your doctor. What we're saying is take accountability for your own life. And the problem is through marketing, and I'm a marketing professional, through marketing and advertising and commercials, they're drilling it that they want you to go to your doctor, to trust your doctor with everything, when the doctor has never received more than an hour of nutritional education in the university to receive their MD. And I've had ER doctors and other doctors on my show who have told me this, so I'm not making this up. I don't know what they probably don't even teach you anything when you're doing your eye doctor thing, are they?
We learn systemic health, but nothing nutrition, not at all.
Right, which is like the foundation. Like you cannot live without nutrition. So it's like, okay, whatever you put in is what you get out.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we try. It's my diet's really strict, and so I tell people like control 80% of what you eat, and if you can make 80% of what you eat extremely healthy, then just go crazy the other 20%, and you'll be surprised by how much weight you'll lose, by how much better you'll feel. I would even, if you want to go extreme, go 90-10. I do one cheat day a week, and my cheating is like chips and salsa. I mean, it's decently healthy, but it's, if you want a cake, go eat a cake. Eat the whole thing if you want. Just confine it to one day.
Did I tell you about on our last call about the NSNG factor?
No.
Oh, so I got to get you connected with Vinny. So Vinny Tortorich is a trainer to the stars his whole career. He's been on the show 3, maybe 4 times now. He's got a way more viral podcast. He guest stars now on Adam Carolla's podcast, and his podcast is like, it's Adam Carolla, so it's huge. But anyway, he trademarked his way of health as NSNG, no sugar, no grains, because all these movie stars are like, oh, as he built his career, everybody's like, oh my God, you got to hire Vinny because he melts everything off right before your movie or your photo shoot or whatever. And all he does is he actually tells everybody, he's like, exercise. And he's a professional personal trainer. He's like, exercise is a poor way to lose weight. That's his tagline. He's like, you can't exercise off a bad diet. He's like, because then you're just on a never ending negative cycle. It's like the definition of insanity. You keep doing the idiotic thing over and over again, and you're expecting a different result.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that. I do talk about grains in mine, but no sugar is definitely huge. I
Oh
mean,
God.
sugar
I
is
mean, it's
massive.
rampant in our society now. It's everywhere. So like you're a fellow French press lover. I'm currently, and for our listeners who aren't on YouTube, I'm rocking my giant Yeti mug, which is all stickered up. It's a lifestyle thing. And I French press it. Oh, by the way, learned this from Vinny, just bought one. I've never spent this much on my coffee apparatus, but I have a new stainless steel brushed, that you can get in brushed or polished finish. It's an S-Pro. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's called the S-Pro, ESPRO. It's a French press. And you can get like one about this big or you can get a bigger one. And it's like $100 for a French press, but it's double filtered. So they have the standard filter on the plunging arm, and then you lock on a secondary filter. I mean, it's so clean and simple, but I will tell you, this is the nicest French press I've ever come across, and I'm so glad I bought it. I've been
Probably
geeking out.
grit free too, I'm sure.
It's what?
Grit free.
There's no grit. There's nothing. There's
I wrote
nothing.
that down. I wrote that down.
And then I bought an actual, I didn't even know they made these. I bought a stainless steel, another company, a hand grinder. So apparently, I didn't know this either. I've been using, blade grinders for years. Yeah. Oh, you do not use a blade grinder. If you want a proper French press, you have to use a conical grinder, a conical device that literally, it's just the beans fall through and it's rubbing them, and you adjust it to the grit level that you want. So anyway. Somebody sit there and my fiance, she's like, "What are you doing? Why don't you just put it in the thing?" I'm like, "No. I'm doing my thing. I'm just hand grinding it." So my coffee has become more of a spiritual morning thing for me. I hand grind it. I got my standard 4-minute is your perfect French press time, and that new pimpin' French press device is just phenomenal. But again, why am I going to ruin a great cup of coffee by dumping a ton of sugar in there? Depending on my mood, I'll throw a little Kerrygold grass-fed butter in there if I'm going for like a fatty coffee in the morning. If I'm in my fasted state, I'm just going to get a little energy off of the fats. Once in a while, I'll do like a heavy whipping cream again for the fat, but usually I'm just doing the butter. And if I'm feeling bored,
I do coconut oil. Yep.
There you go. I have coconut oil too. If I'm really in a hurry and I'm trying to calm the temperature down because it's so high, I'll grab my coconut milk and I'll do that. So yeah.
Now, to take your French press up even more, do you know how to add the water, or what temperature to add the water to?
Well, I upgraded that too. So I looked at the temperature ranges, and before I even bought the French press, I switched over to, if you ever travel overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever notice how everybody's got an electric tea kettle?
Yeah.
Yeah, the ceramic ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on Amazon and bought like a nice decorative, but I checked the temperature ranges. It's got a hot plate in the base of it, inside of it, and there's a heating rod going up through the water. Mm-hmm. So like it heats water faster than a stove. So so I just sped up my coffee making process, and it gives me the proper temperature range for coffee. So
That's
I was perfect. I just flip the switch on when I walk in the morning, and it starts heating everything up, and then it turns itself off once it hits the proper temperature, and then I go to town. And then I slowly pour over the coffee. And then the French press thing I just told you about comes with its own wooden stirring stick. So I sit there and I stir it all in. And I forget how long they say to stir it for. But anyways, once it's stirred, then I insert the double filter on. And then, because it's a double walled metal French press. So the temperature will hold for a while too. Like after this whole podcast is done, I could probably walk back over and it's probably still hot. So
that's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different level.
So people that don't have the kettle, you have to boil the water and then pull it off the burner for 45 seconds, and then that will give you your optimal temperature. And then
I do remember that. I remember I used to do that. Yeah.
You just pour enough water to cover the grounds, and then you let it bloom for 30 seconds. And then after that, you pour the rest of the water in.
See, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We got Travis and Scott. Yeah, we're talking about eye health, but we're also geeking out about coffee, because you don't mess around when it comes to a good cup of coffee. So
you gotta keep going.
I will warn you, Vinny is so obsessed with coffee. He didn't just teach me about the French press. He launched his own coffee company this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend launched her own, and we're helping her out.
There you go. Well, so tell you what, we'll double plug. So Vinny's is called Pure Coffee Club because he's obsessed with purity, right? He launched his own vitamin company last year called Pure Vitamin Club. So it's all about pure, right? So, I mean, I will tell you, the coffee is phenomenal. But what is hers called?
Hers is called Palmetto State of Mind, and she only sells it locally right now.
Wow. Well, that's Very nice name.
It's,
I
the
like it.
South Carolina state of mind, Palmetto State.
Okay. All right. So, hey, that's fine because the beauty of the online market is once she's ready, she can just turn on an online store and now she's not limited to anywhere. So
Exactly.
Vinny went pure online from the get-go because he had already had the experience from a year and a half ago when he launched the vitamin company. So now it's just like turnkey, just flip the same business model, launch the new coffee sourcing. But he's obsessed, man. Like he was literally roasting the coffee on the front porch of his house to find the right roast, to find the right flavors before he was ready to outsource it.
Hey, I'm picky about my beans, so it has to be a good bean. And I think I have to say Sumatra is still my favorite. Getting a good Sumatra bean.
Oh, really?
Did
Did you know that a dark roasted bean is actually, you're losing some of the healthy attributes of the bean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that medium roast is the best.
there you go. There we go. See,
Most
we can
caffeine.
we could do a whole podcast on coffee.
I think we have.
So let me get the screen share back up again. So for our listeners and for our watchers now, I got both of his sites up here. So we got your standard I Love site, and then you also have the I Love the non-for-profit, right? Yeah. So did they both exist at the same time? I don't believe so, right? You obviously had your business first, you took it online, then you grew that, and then you launched a charity. Was that the order?
Yeah, so pretty much we started at the same time. We started 2 optometry practices in 2015. Okay. And the whole goal of I Love was to pay for our mission trip every October because whoever works for me, my staff, to take them with me on our mission trips. Nobody's taken us up on it yet, but that's one of your benefits for working for us.
Wait, they've never taken you up on this?
No staff member has yet. Nope.
That'd be like a life-changing experience.
And I'm flying you to Jamaica and putting you up at a sandals resort for free.
You could do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that's what we do.
Your assistants need to start learning to live, man.
Well, so then we started I Love, and it took off a little faster than we thought it would. So we needed to figure out a way we wanted to create our own foundation or charity where we could control where the money goes instead of just giving it to somebody blindly and not knowing where it goes. So with the profits that we make from I Love, we then donate to our charity. And we've donated about $100,000 to date to our foundation. And we actually just we're going to award it in May, our first $3,000 scholarship to an optometry student that exemplifies excellence in this area. They've been on mission trips more than once.
Oh, that's awesome.
Student career. So we're actually presenting that in May. So we're pretty excited about doing that. And then
now, is that on the ilovecares.org site yet? As far as or will that be once you do it, then you'll publicize what it is?
Oh yeah, we'll definitely put it on the blog. We'll put it on I Love and the I Love Cares Foundation.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that.
And then we also use the money for that for education, so educating the public. And then the most important part is, of course, ending preventable blindness. Which, for your listeners that don't know it, preventable blindness is just a lack of glasses. So there's 700 million people blind due to a lack of glasses in this world. And something simple like a pair of readers, you throw a pair of readers on somebody and it can change their life permanently.
Well, quick, when you say readers, you're referring to those like whenever I go into a grocery store or a drugstore and they have those cheap little pairs of reading glasses, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now I say what I just said there, that cheap pair of glasses, right? Because I see my father now, he's, oh God, I'm blanking on his age. Yeah, I think he's 63, 64 now. But he's got a couple of them, right? We'll just forget where they're at. So they just go buy another one. They're not that expensive.
No,
but
not at all.
To another country, is it the cost or is it just the accessibility?
Both. And so accessibility is number one. It's just they don't have access to healthcare. So Jamaica, to give you an example, here in the United States, a population of 10,000 per eye doctor. And then in Jamaica, it's 500,000 per eye doctor.
Wow.
To give you an example of how many patients we see here a year, it's about 2,000 to 3,000 in a year. Wow. And then in Jamaica, we'll see 2,000 to 3,000 in a week. And so it's a lot more intensive over there, and there's just it's not accessible because it's harder to get around the country. So what we do is we go in, we'll stay at a place like Montego Bay or one of the main cities like Negril, but then we'll go into these rural areas that just people can't drive, they can't get to the bigger cities. And then we'll set up shop for a week and give about 2,000 to 3,000 exams. People travel for miles to come to us, and literally you put a pair of readers on somebody and you give them their vision back. Just a cheap pair of readers that you can buy over the counter at Dollar General for $1. And I'll give you the story that I always give. There's a farmer, or excuse me, not a farmer, but a fisherman in Jamaica, and he pretty much had become a beggar because he could no longer line his hook. And so,
Wow.
because he couldn't see it. And so he became a beggar because he had to provide for his family. And we threw a pair of readers on him, and instantly he can be fishing again, and he's no longer a beggar. And so he can provide for his family again. The most common thing is
we got
reading.
to pause on that. That's,
Mhm.
You don't think about this stuff. Like, this could actually be happening in this country too. We don't know, right? I mean, something as simple as being able to fish, to provide food on your own table or your family's table. That's crazy. I had to pause on that because it's 2018 as we're recording this. It's a brand new year. And I'm constantly trying to teach people that you got to find more purpose in your life. It's okay to chase the money as long as the money is doing something positive in this world. It can't just be all about the money and that's it. So I just think it's pretty powerful. This gentleman was just trying to provide food. He's just trying to be, and as well as his career or his business, so to speak, and his way of life. And he couldn't even do that anymore. And he had to end up begging on the street.
One of my favorite quotes is by Jay-Z, and he says that you can't help the poor if you're poor. And so it's your responsibility, if you have the capability to make a lot of money, to make as much as you can. But it's when you keep it all is when you become irresponsible for it. So make as much as you can, but then you don't need that much. So then start to give back once you feel comfortable.
I love that because another way of saying I'm glad you actually drew in Jay-Z, man. I'm impressed. He's an amazing artist. But a spinoff of that was someone told me one time, he's like, I was at a speaking event or something, and a friend of mine was speaking. And then a person that came up after him laid out just a powerful quote. And he said, listen, you can't be a poor philanthropist. And I was like, that's all he said. I was like, oh. Yeah. Wow, you pretty much cut it right down there. So it's like, okay, man, like if you're looking for purpose and you want to make more money, align yourself. And actually, this will be the first episode that I'll mention it on. Literally, I was doing all the research up until New Year's. I was trying to get this done before New Year's, and I said, that's fine. I'll get this done in the first week of January instead. But did I talk to you about Thrive, Make Money Matter? I did, I think, on the other call.
I wrote it down.
And I think I pulled the hat out last time, but this is one of the folders from the event, right? So I have all my notes and stuff. So anyway, Thrive, Make Money Matter. We've talked about it a lot on this show. I've had over 16, 17, 18 different people that I've met just that event that I've actually honored them and brought them on the show to tell their story and why making money matter means something to them. And this is what you are a perfect example of. That's why I feel like you have to come to this event because I'm already going back again this year. It'll be my third year straight. And this is what it's about, man. It's finding purpose. It's helping people realize that we can do more with our money, right? And that's what you're doing.
I agree. And I will say that if money is your driving factor, when the hard times hit, you're done. You will give up, you will fold, and that will be it. And so we had such a hard year this last year. We had just everything thrown at us. My old coach used to say, you're either going into a storm, you're in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm. And 2017 was our massive storm. And if we didn't have this mission, we probably wouldn't have gone on. And we had to keep going because of this mission.
Well, so with your mission, what's the next step, man?
What's the next step? So we actually just sold our 2 optometry practices this year. And so the next step for us is we're going to sell our house. And we're actually going to tour the United States with a newborn. And what we're going to do there is we have a spray. I'll actually show it to you. I have my Live at 5 next, which is my dry eye community. So this spray is a very patented, innovative spray that we're trying to get into the hands of more doctors to give to their patients.
Okay.
And it helps out cleaning your eyelids, and cleaning eyelids helps with dry eye and blepharitis and other conditions involving the eye comfort. And so if we can get this into more hands, that will create a better business for us. And then more money goes to the mission. And then along the way of going to these doctors' offices, we're going to do vision screenings for kids at schools, just wherever we end up. So we're going to go to Boston for 2 weeks and just hit up a lot of doctors' offices, hit up a lot of schools. And then eventually we're going to end up and we're trying to get this company a little bigger. And once we have enough money in the foundation, we're actually going to try to create a more sustainable model in Jamaica. And so in Jamaica, we go in there, we do these MASH style clinics, And a MASH style clinic is where we go in, we set up for a week, and then we're gone. And so there's no sustainability in that model. And so what I would like to do is create kind of a bicycle spoke pattern where you have a main hub office, let's say in Montego Bay, and then you train opticians, people that can fit glasses, to go out into these rural communities and fit reading glasses and fit very simple glasses that will just help people see just a little better. And then
I love that.
What you do is teach them that if they can't fix the problem, they then send them into us. And so then we'll be at the main clinic and we can diagnose them with cataracts or glaucoma or diabetes and help them from there. But we can help solve the preventable blindness problem, which is what we were just talking about, a lack of glasses. And so that's kind of the goal of this whole foundation. And it's just a matter of getting there now. And so we thought we'd get to this stage in our career about 55 to 60 years old. And my wife and I are 33 and 32. And we're already where we thought we'd be in 22 years. And so another quote from my mentor and coach, a man with definiteness of purpose watches as the world steps aside and then comes beside to help him with his aims. So write down your goals, put them out there to the world, and be amazed by people that will doubt you at first, and then they'll come to your aid second. And so that's the cool thing about this is it's accelerated so fast because we threw it out to the world and said, help us. And people are, and people love it. And people love being a part of this mission that we started.
Well, I think one of the reasons why it's so easy for people to love your mission is that it's kind of pure, man. I mean, you really can't beat it. So many of us take our eyesight for granted. And it's funny because speaking of eyesight, I'm taking my webcams for granted. I'm sure you've been watching this like on your end. Luckily, as long as you're talking, that's all that shows up on YouTube, so I don't care. But it's funny, like my webcam decided to just die, and it's brand new. I don't know what's going on, so I switched back to the laptop camera. So there you go. I'm freaked out about digital vision right now, and you're actually impacting mankind and trying to bring the basics of vision to people who can't even run their fishing purpose anymore. I still love that story, man. That's powerful. Love that.
Yeah, and can I screen share real quick?
Yeah. Hold on, did I give you hosting? We'll figure that out right now. 1 second. Let me see if I actually have that enabled. I'm seeing it.
I have it up.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's actually a girl that this is an unscripted photo. So we try to get photos like this all the time, but it doesn't always work out like this. But this is just, I had my camera on me and I actually just saw this girl for an exam. She was about a -7. And so a -7, to give you an example, is somebody that can see about probably, like 10 inches in front of their face, over that much. And so they really can't see far at all. And so she never worn glasses. She's about 12 years old. You can see her school uniform. So she's in school and she struggled in school. And I wanted to get a picture of her putting these glasses on for the first time. And so that is her reaction when she first put them on and is looking far away. And I just love that picture. I wanted to share it with your listeners or your viewers, I should say, on YouTube. So
do you feel she's never been able to, was that literally the first time she ever saw that?
First time she's ever put on glasses to see. The thing about kids is they're very resilient, and most people don't think their kids need an eye exam, but we actually start seeing kids at 9 months, and we see them at 3 years, then 5 years. And the reason we do that is because kids don't know what good vision is. They just know what they see. And so they could be deteriorating slowly, and they don't know any better because they don't know what 20/20 vision is. They just know what they see. And I have parents all the time, when I tell them their kid needs glasses and probably needed them 3 years ago, they just start bawling and they think they're terrible parents because they just feel like that they missed something.
I could see that. Yeah.
All you got to do is bring in your kids. Yeah. Starting at age 9 months. 9 months under 1 year is free. It's called an infancy exam, infant SEE. And that's a nationwide program.
Oh, that's standard. Oh.
Yeah. You got to find an infancy doctor. So go to infantsee.org. It's infantsee.org.
Okay.
And you can find a doctor in your area that will see your infant under the age of 12 months for free. And then we like to see them if everything's normal at that visit at 3 years, 5 years, every year after that. Because we have kids getting diagnosed with ADD and ADHD and learning disabilities. All they need are either a pair of glasses or what's called vision therapy because their eyes don't work together. And it's very common and it's just undiagnosed.
Get out. And
checking it out.
Is this it right here? Infancy.
That is it.
Okay. Cute baby. Yeah.
Infancy. Right there in the homepage. So find an infancy doctor
I
within
love that. You
one
got a
mile.
simple zip code tool right there.
Yeah, you can probably put 29229 or 29020 and you can find us.
Yeah,
020.
29020.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens. Well, and that's not you guys forever though, right? Because you sold your practices. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, try with expand your search to 5 miles. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll do it.
I think I had it on like I think I had it
1
on
mile.
1 mile.
I'm gonna laugh when we're not in there.
Well, let's find out. We'll test that out right away. Hold on.
My one fact was when I was in Ohio, I actually was the
29020.
second highest infancy provider in the state.
What do you mean?
I did perform the second most infancy exams.
Oh, you did?
There was a lot of infants. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let me try it this way. And yeah, I don't know. It's not working.
Oh,
so
man.
hold on.
No,
why don't I search for
probably because we haven't updated our bio.
18109. Let me try 104. That's my zip.
So yeah, this is our American Optometry Association, started about 10 years ago, and the reason we do this is because we can catch them if they do need glasses, number one. But the more important thing is we can detect any eye issues in the back of the eye before they become too late. So cancers, problems, things like that.
Okay. Yep. Actually, this Dr. Monica is like 2 minutes from my house.
There you go.
Martacci. See, there's a bunch of them on here. Look at that. Pretty cool. See, I learn something new every day. I mean, I don't have an infant, but I'm sure there's listeners on here who do have infants. So take your infant's vision seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when they're going to become a young adolescent and they'll be frustrated because they can't see. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm being serious because I wore glasses, and then as soon as I was able to get comfortable with contacts, I moved over to contacts. And then obviously years later, got LASIK. So anyway, so now your brand's online and it's all about going online. I love it. So with everything online, you sold the physical practices. So the one thing for our listeners is this entire time today, he's been wearing a pair of glasses. And I wanted to bring this up because I have a pair of glasses that I wear for my nighttime stuff. And actually last time Travis and I talked, he's like, oh yeah, that's the 100%. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going with blue blockers. So, but the interesting thing is my blue blockers are like a orangey lens, and the ones you're wearing, sir, are like more of a translucent, almost like a bluish tint. Would you agree with that? Bluish green?
Yeah, so you can kind of see the tint to them if I bring them up maybe a little closer, but
there you go.
They're pretty clear. But yeah, ours are about 30% blue block, and then they actually transition or turn dark when you go outside, and they turn into sunglasses kind of.
Yeah, I love that. So that for our listeners is actually called photochromic, when you have a pair of glasses that can actually change with light intensity. So, and the only reason I learned about that was I was geeking out about sunglasses years ago for eye protection when I was firefighting. And there's so many things I'm literally, as I'm talking to you right now, there's so many things I just took for granted that I learned from 2009 to 2012, before fire and after fire, but just all this gear that I ended up gathering and online research I did and everything else. Now I'm talking about it now. I never thought about actually make a connection, but photochromic is very handy. If people don't want to have 2 or 3 pairs of glasses, right? If you have one that goes from being able to be indoors to outdoors, it's very handy. But I was really impressed the fact that you were able to make that happen with blue block technology. So for our listeners, because I've said it, but now you're going to have an eye doctor say it, why is blue blocking such a big deal?
So blue blocking is a big deal for 2 reasons. And the hot and sexy reason that's out right now is sleep. Mm-hmm. And so blue blocking blue light it comes from the sun. And so when you see the color blue, that's blue light, obviously. Mm-hmm. And when the sun comes up, it tells your body to wake up. And then when the sun goes down, blue light goes away and it tells your body to go to sleep. That's what allows you to increase your melatonin production. Melatonin helps you sleep. And so at nighttime, when you suppress the blue light, it will increase your melatonin production, get you into REM sleep, which is your deep sleep that you need to restore yourself. And it gets you faster. So if you've ever noticed that when you're on your phone right before you go to bed for a long period of time, you're not going to be as energized when you wake up in the morning as if you put your phone away at like 7 p.m. and then didn't stay on it for 3 hours before you went to bed. You're going to be more energized when you wake up because you're going to get to that deeper sleep faster. So sleeping better is a reason that you'd want to wear blue blockers. Now, the ones that we have on will help your eyes fatigue a little less when you're on a computer all day, and they won't make you as tired because they're only 30% blue block.
So again, to our listeners, like I probably have the Max. I don't know what that Max is. Max technically 100% blue block? No.
Yeah, and that's why it distorts the color and everything because it blocks all that blue.
So, which is great because until you and I talked last week, I literally thought that was the only form of blue blocking glasses out there. I never even thought about a 30% option versus 100% option. And to our listeners, the only reason why I geeked out about it was this goes back to episode 51 with Jack Cruz. So again, Travis, if you haven't listened to the show yet and you geek out about this stuff, you got that guy's, he's too sciencey. He's that smart. So you got to really get this guy to dumb stuff down. But he's a neurologist. What do you expect? Neurologists, neurosurgeons, apparently they geek out. But he's hugely adamant about eye health and about obviously melatonin production behind the eye. Like I never knew that. I believe I'm still saying this correctly, that most of your melatonin production happens from behind the eye, correct?
It just happens from cues that your eye gets.
Okay.
And so, And so then what blue light comes from is the sun, like we talked about, but we're now artificially stimulating it with computers, phones, TVs, these new daylight lights that you have in your house. Those are all putting out blue light. And so we can't get to that relaxed state like that we used to be able to.
We're overly stimulated, right?
Exactly. So it's harder to go to bed. So I always recommend turning off all devices 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, put on your 100% blue blockers and just kind of hang out, read a book. It's crazy with pages.
So I'm going to challenge you because I need your help. I've tried convincing my fiance to do this and she's like, hell no. So I'm going to find a way to crack the code on this. So maybe you have some ideas because, I don't know. Anyway, she literally does the iPad while the TV's on right before bed.
Do you guys have a TV in your room?
No, I've kept the law on that. Okay. So she's like, why don't we just get it? She just ordered a brand new television too. Cause we haven't had a new TV in like 8 years. So it's a flat screen that we have now, but it's, it's like probably 4 inches thick. Whereas the new ones are like barely anything. And she actually said, she's like, I haven't been to an eye doctor in probably 5 years and I can't see for shit. So her excuse was, I'm just going to buy a new TV. It's bigger. And I'm like, why don't you go back to the eye doctor? So I'm probably giving you a lot of fuel for the fire here, but we got bigger TV coming. We have iPad before bed plus TV, but even though she's not watching a TV, she's playing she said here's the best part. She's literally playing mind games because she likes to stimulate her brain. She's very smart, actually. She's a horse veterinary doctor and a chiropractic doctor. Highly intelligent girl, but yet still plays the iPad in front of the TV. Like, what do I do?
just try a 30-day challenge with her. Try, say the first 10 days are going to be just unbearable. And then, 10 days, 11 through 20 are going to be uncomfortable. And then I think she'll start to notice that her sleep improves quite a bit. Just have her try, a 7-day challenge just to see how she feels when she wakes up in the morning.
And that's the best part. Better. She does not have a good deep sleep cycle. So, and she knows it. And unfortunately, she'll take like a sleep medicine for that. And I'm like, you're just band-aiding the issue, right? Like you're not addressing the root cause. So, and how many listeners out there probably have this problem?
Yeah, I was going to say, does she complain about not being able to get to sleep when she lays down?
No, she can go first, which is surprising, actually. It's yeah, but then again, I don't know if that's pharmaceutically induced or not. But I think part of it also is her behavior because she's an on-call. So she's also been trained over the years to be listening for the cell phone, right? Yeah. So I don't know if that's part of it too. I'm sure it is. And
so, yeah, you got a tough one there.
I know, right? I gave you a good one.
But I mean, if anybody can do it, it's just a matter of, just like when we were talking about diet, you just got to make the decision to try it. Yes. And if you don't make that decision, then you're just going to deal with what you're dealing with. Not being able to sleep or not getting restful sleep.
Well, the good thing is she gets it. She gets some of it, right? Because she agreed to get blackout drapes. So that was a huge step. Mm-hmm. For New Year's Eve, we stayed at our friend's house down in their basement. They had a nice redone basement. And she's like, oh my God, I loved that bedroom. I slept amazing because it was like a cave. And I said,
it had no windows. Yeah.
Right. I was like, that's exactly what we're trying to create. So you can't have the phones and the iPads and stuff. You can't take that stuff to bed. I purposely leave my phone here in the office. I don't take it to bed. Her excuse is she has to because of the on-call stuff. And I said, that's fine on your on-call days. You don't need it in there on your days off, right? So this is my battle. So I just had to share.
So I'm going to also tell your listeners reason number 2, which is not the sexy reason. Blue light is shown to cause macular degeneration.
Oh. And
so macular degeneration is where the macula is where all light's focused. So how you see 20/20, because light is focused on your macula. Macular degeneration is a degeneration of that area, so you can no longer see 20/20. And so what we found in studies in the 90s and early 2000s was that actually, no, these blue light studies go back to the 80s. That blue light and exposure to blue light actually increases your risk for macular degeneration. So we have this whole generation of millennials, Gen Xers, and Gen Zers that are constantly on devices.
Yep.
And we have no idea how it's going to affect them in 40 years. And so that's why I wear these when I'm on a computer screen, because I want to block the blue light from that, because macular degeneration could affect you 50 years from now.
Well, I think that's the other part. I love the fact you brought this up, because we don't know. And I love the honesty there. Like, we have no idea. Like the millennial generation and the next generation beyond are the first ones growing up already having iPads in front of their faces while they're 2 years old, which is literally my niece and my nephew. So that's the new babysitter, right? It's like, oh, they're getting annoying. Here, give them the iPad. And that's scary. So
it is, and we just don't know the effects of it long term. And think about it, these studies on blue light and macular degeneration were from the 80s. And so if they were from the 80s, they didn't have screens back then.
Yeah, they didn't have anywhere near the blue light we have now.
Exactly. And so, that's the Macular Degeneration Foundation. So
just for our listeners, I'm screen sharing for our video feed. You can go to macular.org, MACULAR. I just Googled macular degeneration, and this was the first result that came up. So
And so, that's what we worry about for future generations, is that we're going to see, and we're living longer. And so this is an age-related condition. It's called age-related macular degeneration. And so we don't know how it's going to affect people like you and I. And this is a heavily diet-related disease. So
I love that, because the site is backing you up right now. As soon as you scroll down, it says "Eat Right" for your site. I love it. We're all on the same page.
But that's kind of the unsexy version or unsexy side of blue light. And everybody's talking about the sleep and this and that, but nobody talks about macular degeneration, because that's kind of one of those things that you invest in your future now to prevent it from happening 50 years from now. And nobody cares about that, really. It's too hard to think about.
But why, man? I mean, come on. It's like, this is your future health. Like, you could potentially go blind.
I mean, it's the same reason. But you're talking to somebody, you and I we're two peas in a pod when it comes to biohacking in our health. Whereas the person that's eating McDonald's doesn't care, because the number one investment you have is you. Don't invest that extra dollar into the stock market. Invest that extra dollar into some organic vegetables or organic fruit. And that's going to pay off more than investing in the stock market.
Oh, I tell people all the time, like I've had to modify it recently, but over the past 10, 15 years, right, there's been viral TV shows and movies coming out about the whole zombie apocalypse theme, right? There's all these cool shows. And so then I thought about it, and there was a great quote years ago when I started putting out my favorite list of quotes for a blog article. And one of them was, your health is your true wealth. So, and nowadays I use that, I spin it off differently. And I say, you know what, if I have all the money in the world, but I'm stuck in a hospital bed, what's the point? People are like, oh, well, then you can spend all that money on doctors. I'm like, doctors who have their heads up their butt and they don't even know how to fix it. I was like, what if I can prevent that? Then what's the point? I would rather be 100% healthy or 90% healthy and be able to do whatever I want, go wherever I want, especially if and when the zombie apocalypse happens, let's say, for fun. And it's like, great. I mean, if you are decrepit, you're pretty much, zombie bait. But if I'm healthy as a horse I'll be out there with a machete or whatever you want, whatever theme from the movie, man, and kicking the crap out of zombies. I'm just throwing that out there for fun.
Go with the crossbow would be more fun.
I do like the crossbow. I shot bow and arrow as a kid, so that's a good angle right there. I like that. But let's be real. Our health is our true wealth. This is what we need.
And yeah, that's the number one thing we invest in every day. Is we made a choice 3 years ago that it doesn't matter how much more organic is, that we will buy everything organic if possible. And we do. That's pretty much what we do.
And trust me, there's studies saying, well, like, are you really getting that much more with organic? And I'm like, well, here's my thing. Does it make you feel better? Knowing that maybe you source your stuff a little bit better, then yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that you buy organic bread versus non-organic bread. Just stop buying all that excessive bread. That's just me. It doesn't mean you buy the organic sugar. It's still sugar. Stop putting it in your body. Exactly. So anyway, back to when we bring you back for a follow-up show, I want to dig more obviously into where you're going with the online footprint and bringing this stuff to the masses. Because obviously, as you hinted at last time you and I chatted, those glasses you're wearing are available to the masses, or they will be shortly, right?
Exactly. They're in port right now. So we're actually getting them to our fulfillment center probably within the next week or so. So I don't know when you release your podcast, but
you'll be at least 2 weeks out, because I'm actually just hopping into your shopping cart for your site right now. So again, he sells actually other glasses, guys, ladies and gentlemen. So I mean, this isn't just about blue blockers, but he has an entire online like center, man. He's got menswear and women's wear, and he's got you hinted you got like health products too for dry eye.
Yeah.
So
dry eye is our main focus. The sunglasses, we actually test all our products on Amazon first. Mm-hmm. So we release on Amazon, and then if it's a hit, then we'll get it to our online shop too.
Ooh, smart.
Yeah. Amazon is kind of like you don't go salmon fishing down in the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of whatever time. You go up to Alaska when it's salmon season. And so Amazon is the salmon season.
I like it.
And so we always test the product on Amazon first, then we'll bring it over to our website if it's a hit. But yeah, most of our focus right now has been on kind of dry eye and eyelid issues. And that's just where we've kind of found our niche. We have a community online called the Dry Eye Syndrome Support Community on Facebook.
Yes.
That's where we pretty much interact. That's where we have our Facebook Live here in an hour. And we interact with everybody on there and answer questions. And then we point them to the direction of our site. And hopefully they'll get on our mailing list, which is dryeyecommunity.com. And you can learn all about how we treat dry eye syndrome, and not typically with the use of medications. So you can read it right there.
Yeah, as I was saying, with our listeners, if you're not, don't worry, all this, I will link the group, the community, everything. He's already provided me everything. It'll be in the blog notes on the website on livethefield.com. We always do that for all of our co-hosts, so everybody can find him and his wife and what they're doing. Again, shout out to Dr. Is it Jenna?
Jenna, you got it?
Yeah, Jenna. So, and again, the book's on here as well. But again, when you're in the shopping cart, they put it at the bottom there, the Dry Eye Syndrome Support Community on Facebook. They've even got a link right through the website. So again, if you forget all this stuff, don't worry. It's all linked in there. Don't worry about it.
And you got a lot of stuff. If you have dry eye problems, our spray is working really well for keeping eyelids clean and keeping your eyes feeling better.
Here, I'll stop sharing. You said you have it there in front of you, right?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah,
and so this is a month's supply of the spray. And you can actually go to freehydrate.com and you can get your first bottle for free. You just have to pay for shipping.
Oh, look at that. Freehydrate.com, ladies and gentlemen. He just gave you some more free value today. I love that. So how many domains do you own?
Gosh.
I thought I was winning out, but I'm starting to wonder if I have a challenger here from the eye market.
I'm about at 30.
Nice. All utilized?
Most of them just forward to my website. So if you go to dryeyecommunity.com, that forwards to a landing page on our website. Freehydrate.com landing page on our website. So we just try to keep it simple.
And are you doing the ClickFunnels stuff yet or no?
No ClickFunnels yet. This is all done through Shopify and Zipify pages, and we do funnels through that.
Okay, nice.
So ClickFunnels is kind of the next step, but we use Zipify pages and one-click upsell. So it's a post-purchase funnel. So after you make the purchase, so if you go to freehydrate.com and make that purchase, you'll pay $5 for shipping, and then put you into our post-purchase upsell sequence.
Nice. There you go. We can geek ass. Again, that's another whole podcast. Well, listen, we've banged out at least, yes, we are actually over the hour mark. Well done, sir. This is what always happens now. I tell people like, oh yeah, they're 30 to 60 minute shows. But if it's good, valuable content, I don't really stop it. So, but
All
we are
about
going
the
to,
coffee today.
yeah, exactly. It's all about the
Go
good
ahead.
coffee.
Sorry.
But without the fact that we've already promised we are going to bring you back and dig a little bit deeper into some of the other stuff, I'm glad we at least got to tag a little bit on the blue light blockers, because the more we can get the awareness out there, I think is going to get more and more people at least intrigued to try them out and consider, if they're not going to buy the glasses, fine, at least start cutting back on the amount of blue light exposure, because a lot of people don't realize that they have that much exposure. And I think you did a great job today bringing that, I think, more to the forefront on that as well too.
Well, good. Yeah. And that's key, is once nighttime comes, there's no more blue light outside. There shouldn't be more blue light inside.
There you go. I like that. So actually, that real quick, that's actually the easiest way to look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Blue light, you're awake. Blue light, you want to be when you sleep. You don't want blue light. Blue light's going to make you wake. He already hinted it came from the sun, but now we have it coming from smart devices and light bulbs and everything else, which ergo, it's become more challenging. But I've actually purposely now searched on Amazon for incandescent light bulbs. Because when I moved into my fiance's house and we cohabitated, she had all those spiral looking fluorescents and then those real daylight looking ones, and I'm like, nope, we're going back to incandescent. So
and you can get a soft yellow glow with those lights now too.
Yeah. So there's other options. So again, there's so many light bulbs options out there nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. But at least try and take your time and do some of this research. I think that's one of the biggest all-encompassing things we could take out of today's episode is that. You and I, we both are geeking out about biohacking, and we're probably sharing a lot more health stuff than most people are used to. But the whole point is we're at least taking a little bit of action. You don't have to know everything that you and I both know. I think you can agree with me, at least start taking some action to self-educate, as I hinted at earlier, become your own inner physician. Like, take your health seriously, start studying up on nutrition and health and wellness. It doesn't have to happen overnight.
What I always tell people is just focus on one thing that you can control that will produce more results in every area of your life. And if nobody's ever read the book, The One Thing, that's pretty much the concept behind it. And everybody should read that book because it's amazing.
It's called The One Thing.
The One Thing by, Keller Williams guy. I can't think of his name right now. His last name's Keller. But anyway, so if you focus on one thing and you make it an achievable goal and it propels that area of life. So I want to strengthen my relationship with my son. And so he's only 2 months old, but my one thing with my son every day is I read to him for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is very achievable every day. And so if I go 30 minutes like I did today, then I go 30 minutes and it's great. We get even more time together. And that's just like one thing. I read to my son for 10 minutes a day. And then another thing that I do right now is that I am building a list of 25,000 community members. And so I wake up every day and think to myself, what's the one thing I can do to build my community? And so the first thing I do on my plate that's on my to-do list, I keep my to-do list to 1 or 2 things, is how am I going to build that list today? And so I work on 10 minutes of list building every day. And so if you do 2 hours, great. But if you only do 10 minutes, you hit your goal that day. And so you won't feel bad. So exercise, I will do 50 push-ups every day. Or I will do 10 push-ups every day. Make it very achievable. I will do 10 push-ups a day. But what it does is it gets you in that mindset, gets you in that exercise mode, and then you'll probably end up doing more. And so just try to figure that one thing out that you'll do every day that will help propel you in the area that you want to be propelled in.
Well, and I believe last time I forget who wrote it, but to build a habit, it usually takes, I think on average is 21 days, I believe is the number count. So if you can do something for at least 21 days, like earlier in the show, you mentioned 30 days, right? 30-day challenge, but it's like, okay, let's tighten it back even more. There's been psychological proven research that on average, the average human being, it just takes 21 days to build a habit. Once you hit that 21-day accomplishment and you go beyond it, you literally have a habit, because it's been over 3 weeks now. Like, 3 weeks, 21 days, guys. Like, all you gotta do is make it there. And on average, you've already started building a habit, and it makes it so much easier.
I call it the unstoppable, unbearable, or excuse me, the unbearable, uncomfortable, unstoppable phase. So first 10 days, like I said earlier, you're unbearable. You hate it. You hate whatever you're doing that's new. The second 10 days, days 11 through 20, it's uncomfortable. So it's starting to become a habit, but it's not really that comfortable yet. So it's uncomfortable. And then after day 21, you're unstoppable. So then you crave it. You want to do it more and more and more.
I love that.
Actually, we're doing a green smoothie challenge on Facebook. It's Green Smoothie Challenge. Just search for it. And we're doing this for people that are in our dry eye community. We got about 55 members in it, I think. And we're just doing 30 days of everybody's posting their smoothies, posting what they're doing. We're giving them tips and tricks and Facebook Lives, and we're having fun with it. And we're going to see how they feel after 30 days.
I love that. See, again, you're tying it back to health and nutrition, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening inside of your body, ladies and gentlemen, will manifest throughout your body and outward, okay? People all care so much about skin lotion and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, what if you can also attack your skin's health from the inside of the body? Everything is tied back to what's going on inside, okay? You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Actually, most rocket scientists probably would not be able to figure that out.
You are correct.
So, listen, as I share your charity again, ilovecares.org, I want to help bring this show to a close so we can bring it back another time. And there it is. I actually purposely scrolled down to the story page because that's right. These guys have been featured on ABC News as well. So iLove is definitely out there, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out. But Travis, all of our co-hosts, I have them really help us bring the show to a close it out. And with everything you're doing with meaning, this will be easy for you. But I want you to be able to give the final words of the show, and then I'll give you a proper goodbye off the air. But is there an all-encompassing mission, which I'm sure there is, behind everything you're doing and where you're going next? Like, what are the final words you want to close out for our listeners so they can remember you and obviously want to follow you more?
Now, you stole my thunder earlier, but it's my quote that I live by pretty much every day. And it's that quote from Gandhi that is, learn as if you were to live forever, or excuse me, live as if you were to die tomorrow, but learn as if you were to live forever. And I think that encompasses pretty much everything you need to do in your life, because every day is a blessing, it's a gift. You don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. So like it's your last one, get off, do something in life, go spend time with your, and then I read every day and I summarize what I read every single day. And so that quote from Gandhi has been my lifelong quote since I was 17 years old, and I still follow it today.
Well, believe me, I like to share quotes in the blog article. So trust me, that will be a easily highlightable quote in your blog content when it goes up on the site, because anytime I geek out about quotes, and I think it's powerful because sometimes for most people, it just takes one powerful quote like that to impact and maybe change a life. So that's a great choice. Gandhi was an amazing influencer in our world.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. This has been fun.
This has definitely been on. So hang tight. I'll give you a proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking about I Love today. That was Travis Zigler, and his shout out to his wife, Dr. Jenna, as well. But again, we're going to bring this gentleman back on, dig a little bit deeper into where he's taking the brand next and where he's taking the business next. But we wanted to give you a lot more about what's going on in his charity and his not-for-profit efforts, and obviously what I Love is all about. And hopefully we gave you a little taste of that today. Stay tuned for a follow-up episode. But again, ladies and gentlemen, that's another Live the Fuel episode. We're here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. And as I've always told you, keep living the fired up, epic life. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. And you're free of the pod. Video's still playing because that's what it always does. So
nice.
All right, man. So pod is
done. My wife's kicking you out.
All right, yeah, perfect. All right, well, good timing then.
Yeah,
so
she just walked out, and that usually means that you're done.
All right, man. Well, it was great hanging. And like I said, when you're ready, feel free to find time on the calendar to come back on another time, and we'll dig deeper into where the brand's going and maybe geek much more into the entrepreneurial business segment of it, just to help tell a story where it's going next, because that's a powerful story to share as well.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right. See ya.
Take care.
Bye.